Hello and welcome back to the Holy Land Guide channel. Today I'm going to guide you in the holiest place on earth for the majority of Christians around the world. I'm standing in the vicinity of the Holy Sepulchre Church, or the Holy Tomb Church, one of the oldest churches on earth. It was built in the 4th century by the Emperor Constantine the Great after his mother Helena marked the site as being the place of crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. Here, the events that took place here changed our world forever. Here, Jesus was driven after he was condemned to death, and he was crucified and then resurrected after 3 days. And this church encloses the crucifixion site and the empty tomb of Jesus. Very beautiful church in the Christian quarter in the old city of Jerusalem. Of course, you can look around on your screen and see everything around. I will try to talk about everything, and if you see something that I didn't talk about, you can ask me in the comments. As I said, this church, one of the first churches in the world, it was built in the 4th century by Emperor Constantine. Then it has a long history of destruction and rebuilding. It was destroyed in the 7th century by the Persians. Then it was rebuilt by the Archbishop Modestus in the same century. After that, it was completely destroyed by a Muslim caliph in the year 1009, and this maybe triggered the Crusaders invasion, and then the Crusaders invaded the land to liberate the Holy Sepulchre Church, and then it was rebuilt mostly by them, and the remains we will see today is mostly from the Crusaders period. Now, if you look up at the bell tower, this bell tower was added by the Crusaders. There was no bell tower for this church before. The entrances is from the Crusaders period. The pointed arches, the 2 doors we are seeing in front of us, one of them is closed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, to my right, we can see chapel. It's called Chapel of the Franks, and this is the place where it is believed the soldiers stripped Jesus of his garments before crucifixions, and it is part also of the way of the cross. It is station number 10. Now we'll go inside. They are renovating the church and they are doing more excavations, taking the opportunity that there is not much tourists. In front of us, first thing you see when you enter the church of the Holy Sepulchre is the anointing stone. And this is the place where Nicodemus and Joseph of Arimathea, 2 followers of Jesus at the time, put him here and they anointed him with oil. Now I will go up to the Golgotha, the crucifixion site. From here, this church has many names. Calvary is one name, Golgotha, Resurrection Church. This church today is managed by 6 denominations, mostly Roman Catholic and Greek Orthodox, Armenians, Syriacs, the Coptic denomination, and the Ethiopian. And here we are at the Golgotha. This chapel in front of us is a Roman Catholic chapel, and it's called the Chapel of the Nailing to the Cross. And here where they nailed, as we can see in the mosaic in front of us, they nailed Jesus to the cross. And this part of the Golgotha belongs to to the Roman Catholic Church. Then we have this statue, Our Lady of Sorrow, where it shows Mary with a sword pierced in her heart, as she was very sad about her son, Jesus. And here we arrive to the crucifixion side. This side is managed by the Greek Orthodox Church. And we can see here down, this is a limestone, this is the big rock that Jesus was crucified on top of. And beneath it, there is a silver disc where people can put their hands and touch the rock. This is the rock. And you can see the difference of the ceiling that between the Greek Orthodox and the mosaic in the Roman Catholic side. So we'll go back down now, and after Jesus was crucified, they took him down of the cross. Go down this way. They took him down. They put him on the anointing stone that we just saw. They anointed him, and then they took him to the tomb. In front of me, you can see beautiful mosaics representing these events. The crucifixion, took him down of the cross. They put him on the anointing stone, and then there they took him to the tomb. This is the anointing stone. Usually now, because the renovations, they took everything around it. Usually there is 8 candles hanging on top of the anointing stone. So after the Crusaders renovated and built and added the bell tower and the entrances, they were defeated by the Muslims, by Salah ad-Din. This here to my right is the rock, the bottom of the rock that goes up to the Golgotha. So the Crusaders were defeated, and the Muslims took over the city, and they closed one of the doors to show the people who is in control, but they allowed the Christians to worship in this church. And of course, this was not a place, it was outside the city of Jerusalem, outside the walls of the city of Jerusalem. Today it is inside the walls, but at that time it was outside the walls, and it was a cemetery and it was a garden and cemetery in this place. And that's because the Jewish traditions is they are not allowed to bury the dead inside the walls of the city. So they had to take Jesus outside the walls of the city and bury him in this place. Then later it was included inside the walls of the city, and we are going to see that excavations reveal that it was a cemetery in the 1st and 2nd century. Now we arrive to this is called rotunda, from round, and it houses the tomb. And this in front of us, it's called the edicule, which means a little house. And this little house encloses the tomb of Jesus, of course, the empty tomb of Jesus. It contains 2 chambers, The first chamber it's called the chamber of the angel, where the angel was sitting outside the round stone, and then the other chamber inside it encloses the empty tomb of Jesus. This edicule is here from 1810, and this is not the first one, because in the year 1808 there was a big fire that destroyed the whole church, and then the previous one was replaced with this one. Also, the columns we are seeing around it, also they were damaged and destroyed, and then they were replaced in 1810 after the Great Fire that happened here in 1808. The ceiling, if you look up and see the ceiling was renovated in the year 2000 with the oculus and then 12 rays of stars around the tomb, representing the 12 disciples of Jesus. And this is a Coptic chapel. It belongs to the Coptic denominations. So from the Bible we know that Joseph of Arimathea, he was a follower of Jesus. He offered to bury Jesus in his tomb. He prepared a tomb for himself, and then he gave his tomb to Jesus. And then when he died, they asked him, "Where do you want to be buried, in the same tomb?" And he said, "Of course not." So he prepared for himself another tomb, very close to the tomb of Jesus. And here, this chapel is to commemorate Joseph of Arimathea tomb. And inside, this is where the excavation took place, and they found that this was a cemetery in the 1st and 2nd centuries, which means during the time of Jesus. But then they found it empty, because when this area was included within the walls of the old city, of the city of Jerusalem, they took all the remains and moved them out of the walls of Jerusalem. I'm not allowed to film inside the tomb. This is the tomb, and it is managed by the Greek Orthodox Church. Just to the left of the tomb where I am going, there is a chapel, and this is called the Chapel of Mary, and this is managed by the Roman Catholic Church. This chapel is here, and it's called Chapel of Mary because after Jesus resurrected from the dead, and the 3 Marys came to visit him, he met her. That's the first appearance of Jesus after he resurrected, and told her to tell his disciples to meet him in Galilee. Now here there is another chapel. The Holy Sepulchre Church contains 30 plus chapels. This another chapel. If you look around, and this is how they put Jesus until they prepared the crucifixion site. So it was like a prison, maybe for a few hours here until they prepared everything before the crucifixion. Now I will take you to see St. Helen Chapel. St. Helen Chapel is where she found the cross of Jesus. Saint Helen, the mother of Constantine the Great, she came to Jerusalem and asked the people who lived here where Jesus was crucified and resurrected, and people venerated the place after the resurrection of Jesus. So they showed her, and she came, she searched, and then she found 3 crosses, and Jesus was crucified with another 2 people. And according to tradition, how did she know which one is the cross of Jesus? So they brought a sick man and they put him on the cross and he was healed. And that's how she knew that this cross belonged to Jesus. This chapel here belongs to the Armenian church, and also this mosaic was put here in the 19th century by the Armenian church. And you can see, if you look around, to the columns and the capitals used, and you can see that they are not identical, they are not the same, which means that this capital was reused from a previous church when it was destroyed, and then they reused it to build the church one more time. We go down now to the cross grotto, to where St. Helen found the cross of Jesus. This here, the chapel for St. Helen, and we can see a statue of her holding the cross of Jesus. And this here we can see around is original bedrock that is covered with glass, and this is a lower levels, maybe 2 levels lower the present church. We'll go back up now. Okay, most remains of the church, as I said, is from the Crusaders period, from the 12th century. Then, after that, when the Crusaders were defeated, left the country, different Muslims sects took over the country. They allowed the Christians to worship, they didn't change much. Then in the 18th century, during the Ottoman period, the Ottomans are the Turks, the Christians, they wanted more rights in the church, so they fought between each other, also the countries. For example, France fought for the Catholic Church, Russia fought for the Orthodox Church, and before anything happened between them and between the Ottomans, who ruled the Holy Land at the time, the Ottoman Sultan issued a decree which called status quo, that each church, whatever it manages or it has inside the church, remains with them forever. This happened in the 19th century, in 1852, and from that time until today, the church is being managed by 6 denominations. Everything inside the church is managed like that. And as a fun fact, just to tell you as a fun fact, if you look in front of me is the doors, and then above these doors you can see a ladder beneath the window. There's 2 windows and then there is a ladder. This ladder was there for the Armenian monks to get food inside the church at that time. And then when the status quo took place, this ladder stayed from that time, and nobody is allowed to touch that ladder. Every time it wears out, they replace the letter so as to keep the status quo going. That is the story of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Of course, there is much more about it, but I don't want to make it very long. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, or if you saw inside anything that would like to ask about, and I will be happy to answer you. Thank you, and see you in the next video.